to say here is, yes, you may still always get nervous, but you will feel a lot more confident in what you're doing. And you'll be able to go on there and you know exactly what you're doing. But I think it is good to feel nervous if you're apathetic. And this has happened to me when I've been apathetic, particularly about the technology. I've thought, everything's going to be okay. And I stop doing what I tell everyone to do. So I don't do my speed tests before I go live. I don't check my cameras. I don't go through anything on my checklist. And then inevitably disaster strikes because following what I tell everyone else to do, I'm being too apathetic. So it's really important to make sure you plan and a bit of nerves helps there.
Yes, absolutely. In terms of, so I have a question for you about going live on social media. Because before we were recording, I just jumped on to one of your Facebook or your LinkedIn Live recordings from, I think, probably last week. And do you find the comments distracting when you're live, or do you ignore them? I mean, people are putting questions up and comments. And so when I'm doing a webinar, for example, I'll get questions popping up and I'll say, I'll look at those at the end, but sometimes I do look at them and then you completely lose your thread. What do you do in terms of the comments when you're going live on a social media platform?
That's a really good question. So, I mean, actually on LinkedIn at the moment, LinkedIn Live, it's actually quite easy to ignore the questions because when you go live, you can't actually see them. You have to get a second device like your phone and physically go to the live video to see them. They hopefully they'll improve that over time, but it is in beta still. But yeah, that's a really good question because I think it depends on the structure of your live video. So if in a typical live show for me, what I will always do is I'll start by introducing myself and saying hello to my replay viewers, the people who are watching in the future, because inevitably live, because I've just gone live, people probably won't have had the chance to get there to log on and look at me live. So I'll do that, and then I'll introduce what I'm talking about, and then at that point we'll get some live viewers joining, and then yes, absolutely, you say hello to your live viewers. You say please ask some questions, get involved, and you spend a bit of time with that. But then you're getting onto the main section. So in most of my live shows, I will share some thoughts, or I will talk about particular subjects. So I'll say just before that, I'll say, I won't be looking at your questions during this section, but I will get back to you afterwards. So please keep those going. And I'll share that main section, those 3 or 4 points. And then I'll get back to the comments. But you could break that up as well. So if you've got 3 or 4 points, you could say point number 1, and then look at what people have said, and then go on to point number 2. So I think you have to make sure you don't get distracted, because actually as a viewer, it's really annoying. Yeah. Somebody's making a really important point, and then they get distracted by the comments, and then they go off at a tangent, and then we lose track of what's happening. Yeah. So you've got to think about the replay viewers as well, the people who are watching later who... and they're going to get very frustrated if you go completely off track and get distracted by the comments. So break it up into sections. We do want to have that interactivity. That's one of the big important things of a live video. And we want the people who are leaving comments, they do want to have that interaction, but there's a balance to be struck.
Yes, because is it the same so when you do like a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post and people are leaving comments underneath, and I always reply to every single comment, and I know that really helps my reach. Do you go back and look through all the comments on your live and respond to each one of them afterwards? I do try. And to be honest, the last couple of weeks, I've not been so good at that, but I think it's incredibly important for the reasons you say. It's so important because, your audience, you want them to feel loved. You want them to come back and watch your lives. It's great for that interactivity. It's great for your engagement. So absolutely. And it's also turning that live video. We tend to focus a lot on the live aspect of live video, which is understandable. But what I'm a big believer in is turning your live video shows on whatever platform it is, into a piece of evergreen content. And one way of doing that is by making sure you respond to all of those comments. Another way is to go back and edit the post. So you're maybe adding some show notes and adding some extra things on, mentioning what you're talking about. And you could even put some
timestamps there. So you could say, like, I talked about 3 things. Point number 1, I spoke at 5 minutes in. But point number 2, at 7 minutes in. Make it easy for people watching in the future. Because I find, particularly if you're starting off, if you've never done any live videos before, you've only done a few live videos, you might not get that many live viewers, but you'll probably get lots of people watching in the future. And I still get people watching my live shows on Facebook, like months or even years in the future. So don't forget about those. Do go back to your comments. Make sure you're going back and responding to people's comments and making it into a piece of evergreen content.
Are you taking those videos and putting them somewhere else, Ian? Are people scrolling back through your Facebook page to find them?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, sometimes they are going back and finding them. I mean, it's weird on Facebook particularly because sometimes posts can just pop up because somebody's left a comment. Yeah. And it's not a live video actually, but it's a video I did a couple of years ago, and it keeps on popping up. And I actually have no idea why. It's on how to be more secure on Facebook. So maybe it's just like somebody's been hacked and then they've found it because I've searched for something like that. But yeah, I think. Yeah, it's turning it into evergreen content and making sure that people do find it. But yes, as well as doing that, I do post promote my live videos as well. So I've got the 5 P's of live video, which I think are really important. The first thing is to plan your live videos to make sure you know what you're talking about. The second one is to pre-promote it. So this is, even if you're not doing a scheduled live on Facebook, you at least know that you're going to go live, maybe say next Tuesday at 2:00. And so you can promote it on all the channels, you can promote it on email, let people know about it. Then, so then the third P is the actual production of it. So that is making sure that all the tech is working and actually doing the show and structuring it all properly. Then after you've done that, you've got to then post-promote it. So make sure that people know about it in the future. So it's just like any other piece of content. You're getting people back to that content that you produced, that live video, which is now, and it's now like a pre-recorded video. And then the final thing is repurposing. So that's taking that content and putting it onto other channels like YouTube or Instagram Stories or Twitter or LinkedIn, and making sure that you're making that into a piece of evergreen content that's going to help you. And that's one of the great things about live video, because actually once you get started with it, it's very, very easy to produce, much easier and quicker than blog content particularly. And then from that, you can then turn it into all these other types of content, such as like you could turn it into a podcast, you could turn it into a blog post, and that's what I'm doing with my live show at the moment. So I'm turning it into a podcast, I'm turning it into a blog post, I'm turning it into all these social media posts, and it's such an amazing feeling. I can't tell you, because I love blogging, but it takes me weeks and weeks to produce that content. Whereas with a live video, I go live and then I can just quickly turn it into all those other pieces of content very easily.
I love that. That's brilliant. I would like to talk to you about LinkedIn Live. So LinkedIn Live is not, as we're recording this, it's not available for everybody yet, but you are doing it. How are you finding it? I mean, you said it's a bit glitchy.
Yeah, well, it's a piece of new technology, so it's bound to be.
Yes.
Having said that, I mean, I remember the day when Facebook Live came out.
Yeah.
And actually, you could argue Facebook Live is still a bit glitchy. It's still not perfect. Yeah. So LinkedIn Live is remarkably non-glitchy. It's actually very, very good. One thing I love about LinkedIn Live is the quality of the video. Compared to Facebook Live, the actual quality is much better. So that's great. It isn't a closed beta at the moment, but they are adding more and more people, and you can actually apply to the LinkedIn Live beta. So it's well worth trying to join it, and over time they will widen that out. Yeah. So from the video point of view, it's great and they are adding lots of new things. One of the things they've added recently is the analytics. So you can now see a lot more information about how many people are watching, who's watching, and for the length of time they're watching for, which is really good. And the one glitchy thing, or the one thing I think they really need to improve upon are the comments, because you sometimes don't see them, and sometimes they disappear. And also at the moment, the only way to go live to LinkedIn is through a third-party tool. You can't just take your phone and click a go live button.
Okay.
And you can't even do it through the LinkedIn website. You have to invest actually in a third-party tool such as Switcher Studio is one, Wirecast is another, Social Live, Restream.io. There's a few of these, but none of them are free. And actually, a lot of them are quite expensive. So I think at the moment, that's the only way you can do it. But I think over time, they will widen that out. And I wouldn't be surprised I'd be very surprised if they didn't allow you to go live directly from your phone or from desktop. But at the moment, that's the only way. But you don't see the comments. So the way I do it is I go live from my computer and I have to have my phone there. And after I go live, I have to wait about 20 seconds. Or, well, I'm talking to the camera while I'm doing that. I'm not waiting. But then I try and then navigate on my phone to my profile, latest activity, find the live video, click on it, and then hopefully at that point I can see the comments. So it's a bit of a pain at the moment, but that's the pain of being an early adopter. What can I say?
I'm trying to think, do I know anybody else in my network who is doing LinkedIn Live? And I don't know that I do at the moment.
Yeah, there's still a small number of people. It has widened out quite a bit. So initially when LinkedIn Live came out, there were only really around 12 to 15 people that were given access to it. I wasn't one of them. So I was a bit frustrated because I was going to Social Media Marketing World speaking on live video, and I didn't have it. But there were two people there who did, and then a couple of weeks after that, I did get access to it, and I was quite excited about that. But it's at the moment it's still quite geeking, a bit techie to do it. And actually, so if you do get access to it, probably the place to start would be the tool I would probably use would be Switcher Studio, because it's probably the easiest, and it's only available for iPhones. Basically it converts all your iPhones and iPads into a mobile video studio. So it's pretty cool. And it's actually probably the easiest one out of the lot.
And do you think having LinkedIn Live is raising I'm sure it's raising your profile on LinkedIn, but are you getting a lot more connection requests and stuff as a result of that, Ian? Yeah.
So this is a funny thing, really. It's a double-edged sword. So what I'm finding is actually, yes, the number of connection requests I'm getting has gone through the roof.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of random people who I don't know and aren't necessarily related. So this again depends on your strategy. My kind of strategy is I want to connect with people that I have some kind of connection with, that I know, or at least are relevant to my industry. Yes. Whereas I know some people, they're kind of happy to connect with as many people as they want. But what I've been doing is I have been going through these connection requests and trying to get to know these people and seeing why they're wanting to connect with me, so that I can then, because what I've found is if I've sent them a message and they've got back to me with saying, yes, I noticed that you've got LinkedIn Live, or I've got a question for you, then that's a great connection. Whereas sometimes they just want to add more people to their connections, and they're not really interested in me at all. So in those cases, I just ignore them.
Yes. So a funny little side story. I did an online training for a group of very nice American female entrepreneurs recently. And one of the ladies, Tracy, took what I said and created a post on LinkedIn. And Jeff Weiner, the CEO of LinkedIn, commented on her post.
Oh, wow.
I know. I was like, wow, Tracy. I mean, couldn't you tag me in the post? Anyway, no, I'm joking. But as a result of that, she has been walloped with connection requests. And initially, the post, after like a few hours, she got hundreds of thousands of views, and she messaged me and said, I've got these 50 requests, and it's ballooned since then. But I noticed that the comments on there are a lot of spammy ones. So it's interesting, because I thought, wouldn't it be amazing for Jeff Weiner to comment on your post? But actually, if it means that your LinkedIn account gets taken over for a couple of weeks by people saying, add me to your WhatsApp contacts, and it's like a really random person.
Yes, exactly. It's those kinds of things. But yeah, so it's a good thing, but obviously you need to manage it. And it's been quite challenging. So it just has meant me going through and just because the way I like to work LinkedIn, I just want to make sure that I